बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय गिरि गोवर्धन गिरि गोवर्धन गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय 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 श्री राधा गिरिधारी भगवान की, जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा मैया की, गौर निताय की, जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। So we will continue reading from Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita. We are in chapter 1. In the new book, it is page number 9, if somebody wants to follow. Abhay's mother, Rajni, was 30 years old when he was born. Like her husband, she came from a long-established Gauriya Vaishnava family. She was dark-skinned than her husband, and whereas his disposition was cool, hers tended to be fiery. Abhay saw his mother and father living together peacefully. No deep marital conflict or complicated dissatisfaction ever threatened home. Rajni was chaste and religious minded, a model housewife in the traditional Vedic sense, dedicated to caring for her husband and children. Abhay observed his mother's simple and touching attempts to ensure by prayers, by vows, and even by rituals that he continued to live. Whenever he was to go out, even to play, his mother, after dressing him, would put a drop of saliva on her finger and touch it to his forehead. Abhay never knew the significance of this act, but because she was his mother, he stood submissively like a dog with its master while she did it. Like Gaur Mohan, Rajni treated Abhay as the pet child. But whereas her husband expressed his love through leniency and plans for his son's spiritual success, she expressed hers through attempts to safeguard Abhay from all danger, disease, and death. She once offered blood from her breast to one of the demigods with the supplication that Abhay be protected on all sides from danger. At Abhay's birth, she had made a vow to eat with her left hand until the day her son would notice and ask her why she was eating with the wrong hand. One day, when little Abhay actually asked, she immediately stopped. It had been just another prescription for his survival, for she thought that by the strength of her vow, he would continue to grow, at least until he asked her about the vow. Had he not asked, she would never again have eaten with her right hand, and according to her superstition, he would have gone on living protected by her vow. For his protection, she also put an iron bangle around his leg. His playmates asked him what it was, and Abhay self-consciously went to his mother and demanded, "Open this bangle." When she said, "I will do it later," he began to cry, "No, now." Once Abhay swallowed a watermelon seed, and his friends told him it would grow in his stomach into a watermelon. He ran to his mother, who assured him he didn't have to worry. She would say a mantra to protect him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhaktir uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtaki. So today we'll be reading from Canto 4, Chapter 16, entitled Praise of King Prithu by the Professional Reciters, and the text is text number 18. Please repeat after me. Dehi namatmavat preshtaha suhridam nandi vardanaha Mukta Sangha Prasongoyam Danda Panir Sadhusu Dehinam Preshtaha Suhridam Nandi Vardanaha Mukta Sangha Prasangoyam Danda Panir Sadhusu देहिनामात्मवत् प्रेष्ठः सुहृदं नन्दिवर्धनः मुक्तसङ्गप्रसङ्गोऽयं दण्डपाणेन साधुषु देहिनामात्मवत् प्रेष्ठः सुहृदां नन्दिवर्धनः मुक्तसङ्गप्रसङ्गोऽयं दण्डपाणिरसाधुषु देहिनामात्मवत् प्रेष्ठः सुहृदं नन्दिवर्धनम् मुक्तसङ्गप्रसङ्गोऽयं दण्डपाणिरसाधुषु देहिनामात्मवत् प्रेष्ठः सुहृदं नन्दिवर्धनः मुक्तसङ्गप्रसङ्गोऽयं दण्डपाणिरसाधुषु देहिनामात्मवत् प्रेष्ठः सुहृदं नन्दिवर्धनः मुक्तसङ्गप्रसङ्गोऽयं दण्डपाणिरसाधुषु माताजी देहिनामात्मवत् प्रेष्ठः सुहृदं नन्दिवर्धनः मुक्तसङ्गप्रसङ्गोऽयं दण्डपाणिरसाधुषु देहिनामात्मवत् प्रेष्ठः सुहृदं नन्दिवर्धनः मुक्तसङ्गप्रसङ्गोऽयं दण्डपाणिरसाधुषु. So we'll be reading word to word. Please repeat after me. Dehinam, to all living entities having a body. Atmavat, as himself. Preshtaha, considering dear. Suhridam, of his friends. Nandi Vardhanaha, increasing pleasures. Mukta Sangha, with persons devoid of all material contamination. Prasangaha, intimately associated. I am this king. Danda Panihi, a chastising hand. A sadhusu, to the criminals. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. So please repeat this also. The king will consider all embodied living entities as dear as his own self, and he will always be increasing the pleasures of his friends. He will intimately associate with liberated persons, and he will be a chastising hand to all impious persons. Purport. Please listen. The word Dehinam refers to those who are embodied. The living entities are embodied in different forms, which number 8.4 million species. All of these were treated by the king in the same way he would treat himself. In this age, however, so-called kings and presidents do not treat all other living entities as their own self. Most of them are meat eaters, and even though they may not be meat eaters and may pose themselves to be very religious and pious, they still allow cow slaughter within their state. Such sinful heads of state cannot actually be popular at any time. Another significant word in this verse is Mukta Sangha Prasangaha, which indicates that the king was always associating with liberated persons. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadi Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Mahavishnu Goswami Namini Namini Mahavishnu Goswami. So we will read the translation again and discuss the verse. Thank you. The king will consider all embodied living entities as dear as his own self, and he will always be increasing the pleasures of his friends. He will intimately associate with liberated persons, and he will be chastising hand to all impious persons. So in this chapter, in this complete chapter, we are seeing that King Maharaj Prithu has been glorified by the reciters. And why do we glorify? Because there are two reasons for the glorification. Firstly, to know the qualities of the king, and secondly, to get ourselves purified. So how do we get purified? Like the sun, when it shines, it purifies everything, all the places. Even if there is a contaminated place, it absorbs that contamination and purifies. Similarly, we have so much contamination in our consciousness. So this contamination of the consciousness is purified when we come to the pages of Bhagavatam and when we read or study the glorious pastimes of great personalities, and one among them is King Prithu. So King Prithu was a king, and we are going to study about his activities. Now tell me one thing. Are there kings now in the society? Are there kings? No kings, right? Yes. Sorry? Sometimes, yes. So today we don't have kings, but today the whole society or the countries, they live on democracy. What does that mean? That we elect or we choose the leaders. Yeah. But unless and until we know what qualities the leader should have, we can do wrong selection. And the point over here, what I want to say is, we will be studying the qualities of Prithu Maharaj, but we cannot compare those qualities with the leaders of today. Why? Because those leaders will not have the qualities of Prithu Maharaj, because when the king grows, he is nurtured with all these qualities. But a person who is being elected is one among us, right? If one among us is elected as a leader, so how can we have the qualities of Prithu Maharaj? Because we are full of, the consciousness is full of contamination. So therefore, it is very wrong to compare this. But however, we will study these qualities to know what an ideal king should be. Yes. So Prabhupada mentions that in in Canto 5, chapter 12 and text 23, that the king is the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is why the king is called the Nara Devta. He is the lord of the human beings. And what is the duty of the king? To protect the citizens. And if the king thinks that, yes, I can extract or take advantage of the citizens for my sense gratification, then that is totally wrong thing to do. The king is there to protect, and for that reason, he has to sacrifice many things. But today you see, the leaders of today, do we see these qualities in them? It is very difficult, isn't it? So then we'll see this verse and line by line, and we'll try to understand. Dehinam atmavat preshtaha. Dehinam means to all living entities, and atmavat means as himself. So over here, it is mentioned that King Prithu, he was a king of spiritual vision. He looked at each and every living entities as dear as he himself is. Now, this is a very difficult concept to understand. To consider every living entities as dear as himself is a very difficult concept. Why? Because we can be dear only to ourselves. We can be very dear to our body, to our mind, to our thought. But to look at other individual as dear as myself is very, very difficult. Even in the loving exchanges which we have, it is driven by motives. I like that person as long as he is fulfilling my demands. And the moment he doesn't fit into the scheme of my expectation, I start disliking that person. And it is going on everywhere. I'll not like him because it's not fulfilling my demands. But if we see Prithu Maharaj, he was not like this. He saw everybody, all living entities, at the same platform, in the sense that he connected them. He knew that each and every living entity is a spirit soul. And because each and every one is a spirit soul, he understood the connectivity of the living entity with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And because they are connected to the Supreme Person, he considers them to be as dear as he himself is. And therefore, he treated them equally. So that, therefore, we'll see that, in the verse 521, it is said that Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Suni Chaiva Swapake Cha Panditaha Samadarshanaha. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned, a gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. Can we say that, we have this vision? We can see everyone at the same vision as Prithu Maharaj. Can we do that? No, we can't. It is there in the scriptures, it is there in Bhagavad Gita, but to implement that, it is very difficult. Why? Because we are seeing everybody not as spirit soul, but we are at that bodily concept of life. That's why it is very difficult. So, why do you think then in the leadership also, why do you think that the people in film industry or in the sportsmen, they want to become leaders today. Very few, there are reasons that, why do they want to become leaders? Why? Because they want name, fame, power, and money. They're not bothered about the welfare of the citizens. As long as I have got name and fame, yes, that is what I want. And they are actually willing to see the economic development of the country. That is their only intention. They don't see that, what values the citizens should cultivate. So because of this economic development, what are they doing? They are encouraging people to earn more and more money, work hard, and earn money for your own sense gratification. To gratify your own senses, you work for 10 hours, 12 hours, and this is how they are pleasing the citizens. But Prithvi Maharaj, on the other hand, he was looking at the needs of the citizens. That's how it was different. That's why he is called an ideal king. So Prabhupada actually wanted his disciples to be in the leadership role in politics also. So he wanted them to take up the role of leaders, and even if his disciples could not become leaders, he wanted that people who would actually follow the principles of Krishna consciousness, they become the leaders. Why? Because if they know the principles, then they will apply that and they are going to influence, and that's how there will be a total transformation in the whole society. Again, in the verse 321, it is said, Yad yad acharati shreshthas tat tad evataro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tad anuvartate. In Bhagavad Gita 3.21, it is said that whatever action a great man performs, common man follow, and whatever standards he sets by his exemplary acts, all the world pursues. And again, in Canto 5, text 10 and 20, chapter 10, text 23, it is said that, the president should actually awaken the Krishna consciousness of the people, and he should lead the people to do devotional service. And that is a real welfare activity that the president will be doing. That is what Prabhupada has written. So this is what the quality of the leader should be. He should be Krishna conscious. So this can only happen when Krishna consciousness penetrates in the whole society. Like we go out and we do a lot of preaching and bring people to Krishna consciousness. Now just imagine if each and individual in the society becomes Krishna conscious, or even if they don't become wholeheartedly, but even if they know the principles, even if they are not disciples, initiated disciples, but they know what it is meant by Krishna consciousness, by not hurting any living entities, then do you not think that the society will be a better place to stay? Because over here, it is said that King Prithu was equal to all living entities. All king will consider all embodied living entities. All living entities over here also means the animals. The cows, the dogs, everyone comes into that. And because he was self-realized, he saw everyone as the spirit soul. He also saw the animals as spirit soul and as a part and parcel of the Lord. And therefore, animal killing was totally prohibited. There was no animal killing because animals are also evolving. Yes, they are also evolving. So we should not stop their evolution by killing them. And therefore over here, Prabhupada very nicely, he writes over here that cow slaughter within the state, over here he mentions that meat eaters, and they may pose themselves be very religious and pious, they still allow cow slaughter within their state. Now, according to some philosophies, it is said that because human beings are higher in status, they are allowed to kill the animals and eat them. That's what they think. They forget to see that animals also have consciousness. They are also hurt. When the animals are taken to the slaughterhouses, you will see, I mean, I don't know how many of you have seen, but if you see the chickens, how they're stacked in the truck, the cows, they go to the slaughterhouses, and when they are slaughtered, when another cow is seeing that, he has tears in his eyes, in her eyes. So it is that the only thing is that, you know, the animal cannot talk and express, but the animal is also going through sufferings as we are also going through suffering. And most importantly, cow killing should be prohibited because that is the most sinful act. Cow is considered as a mother, and so cow killing should be stopped totally. Now, it is an irony when you see that when people are driving their car on the roads and the ducks are crossing the road, what they do? Immediately they stop the car. The ducks should not be killed. But on the other hand, what is happening? On the other hand, that same duck is being killed and it is there in the supermarket nicely packed. And the same people, they're going, they're buying that and they're eating. So what is going on? This is an irony, and you know, in Kali Yuga, it is said the Kali Yuga is the age of hypocrisy. People are short-lived, people are quarrelsome. So is it not hypocrisy? You can see that in front of our eyes. Similarly, like, you know, same way, the cows, they are very dear to the Lord, and when they are killed, the sin that we are committing, the nature reacts in the form of war, pestilence, which we are seeing in today's world. You know, we are struggling with this COVID, which is happening. It is happening for so many years, and I don't know how many years we'll be suffering with this deadly disease. And if people say that, oh, animals, they don't have emotions, that is totally wrong. Animals do have emotions. Why do you keep the pets? To have that reciprocation with your pets. When the dog comes with a wagging tail, what does it say? It feels loved. And we had an opportunity to brush the cows at the Goshala this time at Govardhan Eco Village. And I had no idea that, you know, the brushing the cows makes them so happy and they feel so loved. So we were brushing the cow, one or two cows, and immediately, you know, there were other cows which started coming and they were pushing and making their way to come in front and get themselves brushed. And they felt so loved. And that is what the emotions were coming through. So these emotions are there in the animals as it is there in the human beings also. So it is wrong to say that you know, they are because they are lower than human beings. So we have the right to kill them and gratify our senses. In our body, the tongue which we have got to taste, how long is that? Only 2 inches, maybe long. And just imagine, just to gratify that 2 inches of muscle, we go to so much extent of killing animals and eating and gratifying that small muscle. Now imagine if there were someone higher than the human beings, some superior being than the human beings. Okay, because they are superior and we are inferior than them. And then they would say that we are allowed to eat the human beings because we are superior. Yes. And in that case, what would have happened if we see that superior being coming in front of the temple? What would our reaction be? Would we be sitting over here? Even if the deities are here, what would we be doing? We would immediately run for our life, right? To protect ourselves. Just imagine that scene that, we are stuck in the truck and we are taken to the slaughterhouses and we know that we'll be slaughtered right now. How does that feel? So it is the question of, the human beings, like, we have to think logically that this activity of killing animals is not the right thing we are doing. There are lots of slaughterhouses and the killing is going on continuously. Now that we are sitting over here, now some animal is being killed in the slaughterhouse. And Prabhupada, that's why, he used to meet the religious leaders also, the delegates, and he used to convince them, or he used to put forward his point about the killing of the animals. It's such a heinous act. So therefore, Prithu Maharaj over here, it is said that he was equal to everyone, even to the animals. Now we'll take the second point over here, which is Suridam Nandi Vardhanaha. Prithu Maharaj was pleasing to all his friends. In this chapter, we see that Prithu Maharaj was pleasing by his own behavior. He was very merciful. He was very kind. He was very tolerant, and he looked after his citizens very nicely. And he had a moon-like face, and he had nice glances. So, in all these qualities, we see in none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He used to give pleasure to all his friends with his pitambri dhoti, with his glances, with his moon-like face, with his activities. He used to please all the gopas and the gopis. Each and every activity that Krishna does, it is pleasing to everyone. Even the killing of the demons is pleasing to everyone. He has a unique way of attracting people to him. The next point is Mukta Sangha Prasangoyam. Prabhupada mentions over here another significant word in this verse is Mukta Sangha Prasanga, which indicates that the king was always associating with liberated persons. Now, why does a king has to associate with a liberated person? Why does he have to associate with the sages? He's a king. Yes? Yes, it purifies the king. Yeah, by the association of the devotees. Because the king also needs association of liberated persons for his own spiritual journey. It also elevates him when he associates with these liberated person. And the sages and the scholars were there during those times to assist the king and to give them advice from the Shastras. Now these sages or the Brahmanas who assisted the king, they were not there to entertain the king. They were not there to entertain the king or to please the king diplomatically, but they were there to enlighten the king. Yeah, they would say, this is what it is, and please do this the right way. And the king used to accept it. So the advices used to come from the Brahmanas. And even you see, like in the history, Chandragupta Maurya, he had his advisor, Brahmana. Who was he? Chanakya Pandit. And the Chanakya Pandit used to stay far away from the palace in his hermitage. And Chandragupta Maurya had to visit the king. Just imagine, he never used to call him to his court, but the king used to walk and go and visit Chanakya Pandit to get advice. Even though he's a king, and whatever advice he used to give, he used to strictly follow that. Therefore, this association in our devotional life also, Prithu Maharaj by this example is showing that he is associating with the liberated persons. So what in our devotional life, what we should do? We should also association. Now in the pages of Bhagavatam, you will see mostly the point of association comes very frequently. Most of the time. Prabhupada is not telling us anything new in these pages of Bhagavatam. He's repeating these things again and again and again, just so that it comes to us naturally, or we can imbibe the fact that association of devotees is so very, very necessary. I'll tell you an example. Okay. Why do we say that we should not associate with the materialist people, but we should associate with the devotees? Now, for example, if you go to your work and you're feeling very sleepy and you're just dozing off on the table. Yes. And then your friend, he is a materialist. That I think I've told this example before in the class. Bhakti Shastri class. So if your friend is a materialist and you tell him that, oh, I'm feeling very tired today, so I'm dozing off now at work. So then your friend will ask, why, what happened? What time did you sleep yesterday? Then you will say that, oh, I slept, I slept at okay time, but I woke up pretty much early, around 3 o'clock. He said, why 3 o'clock? Then you told him that, why? Because I have to go for Mangal Aarti, and that's why I woke up at 3 o'clock. Then that friend will tell you, that materialist friend will tell you, are you mad? Have you gone crazy? Waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Why? That's the reason you're dozing off. You should sleep till 6 o'clock. Then you wake up and you'll do your job properly. So no waking up at 3 o'clock. Okay, so this is the advice which came from the materialist. Now the same thing, he goes to a devotee and he says that Prabhu or Mataji, I'm dozing off. I don't know what to do because I'm feeling very sleepy in that while doing job. What the devotee will advise him? He will say, Prabhu, what time did you sleep? He said that, I slept at around 10 o'clock. Then he will say, that is the reason you were dozing off. And what time did you wake up? Yeah, 3 o'clock. Yeah, 3 o'clock waking up is perfectly all right. You woke up on time, but your sleeping has gone wrong, Prabhu. So you have to adjust your sleeping. See, if you have to wake for Mangal Aarti, you have to sleep on time. So by 8:30, you have to hit the bed. If you hit the bed at 8:30, definitely you can have a good sleep. You can wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you can do everything properly. So now you can find the difference between the materialist, how he is advising and how the devotee is advising. That is the reason that we have to associate only with the devotees. Because they will give us the right advice. They will put us back into track. If we go here and there, they will say that, Prabhu, what you're doing is not right. Please. They are there to give you good advice, which may be a bit bitter in the beginning and which may sound a bit sour to take it in a life. But in the long journey, when you look back, you will thank that devotee. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for saving my life and for telling me all these advices. At that time, I did not understand. But today, I really thank you. Because many times, at that point when those advices come, we don't understand what is going to happen because we are too much absorbed in our own things. Because some changes in our life is not very tasteful, isn't it? It doesn't bring good taste to us. We tell them to bring some changes in life. But later on, those changes which we bring in our life, unwillingly also, we're not willing to do it, but since, oh, that Prabhuji or that Mataji has told me to change some ways of life, and you are endeavoring to change it, and Krishna is also helping you. And what happens? In a few years, you will see that it has brought you closer to Krishna. Those changes in life has brought you closer to Krishna. And then at that time, which you were not understanding, this time you will understand. Yes, this was for my own good. So thank you, Krishna. Yes. So this is what it is from today's verse. We can conclude by taking two acronyms from this verse, which we did today, which is PA. PA means personal assistant. Yeah. So when we are working in the office, every boss has got his personal assistant. And what do that personal assistant do? He executes the work very, very smoothly. Yes. And the boss delegates the work and he executes it for the smooth functioning of the office. So in our life also, we have personal assistant. And who is our personal assistant? None other than the Lord himself. The Lord came in this material world and he became the personal assistant of Arjun. He became the charioteer of Arjun. And in the whole world, the Lord was a charioteer. He was driving the Rath. Same thing in our life also. The personal assistant is, the Lord is assisting us in our day-to-day life. He is assisting us by giving the association of the devotees. But sometimes, you see, we cannot have the association of devotees on a day-to-day life basis. Every day we do not have the association of the devotees. Then how is he assisting us? By the scriptures. So the pages of Bhagavatam is assisting us daily. So we have to come to these scriptures on a daily basis. And he will be assisting us in our devotional journey. Even the 9 stages of bhakti which we have, right from Shraddha to Prem, even to come to the stage of Ruchi also, we need his assistant. Otherwise, devotional service in the beginning is very, what would I say? Unwillingly we do. The japa, we do it unwillingly. There is no taste. But since my spiritual master has told me to do the japa, I am doing it. When we started, we are not getting the taste. We are doing sadhana bhakti. But because I've been told, I'm doing it. Every day I'm doing it. And what happens? Therefore, Krishna is assisting us in that chanting also. Sometimes we don't feel like doing it, but just because we are doing it and we are doing it, but who is assisting us? In a subtle way, Krishna is assisting us. He's giving you the time to do it. Otherwise, we might have hundreds of reasons of not doing it. But somehow or the other, he's arranging time for us. He's only arranging the time for us. So we are chanting every day. And then to come to the stage of Ruchi also, he's assisting us by the scriptures. When we read it every day on a regular basis, every day by little by little by little, then doing service little by little by little. I don't have taste right now, but by doing it regularly, I'm getting little taste. That little ruchi will start coming. So Krishna is assisting us every single day. So on that note, I would like to end here. Prithu Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Any comments or any questions if anybody would like to ask? Yes, Prabhuji.
So how can we appreciate the association of devotees? What should we do personally? It's easy to appreciate scriptures and pure devotees, but sometimes even like-minded, like equal level devotees, sometimes we take it for granted. So what should we do?
Yeah, very nice question, Prabhuji. This question has been answered very nicely in Devki Mataji's book, Sheltering Relationships, where she actually talks about relationships, how a devotee should have. I just went through a few pages today in the morning. I was just flipping through the pages, and I just had a glance of it. And she was mentioning that most of the time when we meet, when the devotees meet at the temple, it is most of the time Hari Bols and Hare Krishna. That's it. Right? So it is on a very artificial level of greeting because we are not knowing the depth of that relationship. Haribols, we are all Haribols devotee only. We just say Haribol, Hare Krishna, that is it. But to know a devotee, we should also start caring for the devotee. Forget about the scriptures. Unless and until we connect ourselves by taking care of the devotees, their needs, and that way we can build a relationship. See, in every aspect, the relationship has to be created. In at work also, when we are working, we have a relationship with our colleagues and we have a relationship with our boss. Different. Those relationships are different, but we do have relationship. If there is no relationship, how is it going to work? And that's why when Prabhupada is also telling that, the leaders should be in the political parties, how is it going to affect the society? Because they have to connect themselves to the public. Now, all of a sudden, if I suppose tell you that, oh, Prabhu, you please do this for me. Well, there's no relationship. Why am I going to commit to you? Isn't it? So everything works on this relationship, building good relationship. And once that building relationship that has been achieved, then the association becomes very good. Then in that association, you can do Krishna Katha. Yes. In that association, you can do Guhya Makhyati Prachyati. You can talk your heart out. Because now you have developed a nice relationship. Now even relishing about Krishna's pastimes become very, very valuable and relishable. So that Sangha is very important. So like regular Sangha, when we come, then we get to know each other very well. We get to know the problems what the devotees are facing. And come what may, outwardly maybe the devotees are smiling and they are hugging or they are greeting each other very nicely. But internally, we don't know what is happening to them. Internally, maybe they are facing a lot of problems, but they don't have anybody to share with. Whom will they share? With only one or two close devotees. So that's why, that closeness of the devotees are very, very essential. Talking and sometimes I feel that we should actually talk. Devotees, we should have time to talk. Otherwise, only class finished, ho gaya, and then prasad khao, ghar jao. And we keep everything to ourselves. All the problems are with us. We don't share, and we don't know whom to go and share as well. And sometimes they feel very lonely. Then you find they feel very lonely, and then their sadhana goes down, then their enthusiasm goes down. So that is very important, Prabhu. I hope I'm able to answer, Prabhu. Like, so this is what I just thought. But that book, Sheltering Relationship, I think that everybody should read that book. That is very, very nice book. It talks about relationships. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Anything else?
In the meat section, right? The meat is sold like the small boys. They don't know about the meat. Whenever you ask the people, the small child, where you get the meat, they will say,
yes, supermarket. Yeah. Yeah.
If they will see that then they will be afraid of killing. Then about the doctors, we can say that we can give the fault of the doctor. One of my friends, she was a vegetarian. And when she went to the doctor said, you have to eat meat. And she started. And then I said, the doctor said, meat. What about the elephant? What about the horse, the cow? They eat grass. Only grass. So we can't, who will be give the, the fault, the killers or the elephant?
So there are, it's mentioned that there are 7 people who get the same type of sin, karma. And in the beginning, I remember even I was told that, oh, you are just eating meat, you're not killing, so that is okay, you can eat meat. In those days when I used to eat meat. But the person who is killing the animal, who is selling it, who is cooking it, who is serving, who is eating, who is ordering to kill, they all get the same type of sin. So no one can say, oh, I have just sold it, I'm not getting the sin. No, you are getting the sin as well. Even in the childcare centers, like, I was working in the Montessori center, and I had to give the lunch boxes to the children. And I remember, I don't know whether you remember Prana Prabhu, His Grace Prana Prabhu, if you have met him. So Prabhuji asked me that, how is everything going on? Then I told everything is okay, Prabhu, except the fact that, I'm actually giving the lunch boxes to the kids. Then he's saying that, oh, you're serving the lunch boxes, and definitely it has got meat, you see. Then he told me that, do the cleaning part, but don't serve the lunch boxes. That's what he advised me. So from that point, I used to look for opportunities how not to do that, because my boss will not say agree to it. If I'll be said that, you go out, you can. I cannot put forward my point to her, but I used to avoid that serving and take away the cleaning part, and I used to give some excuses and do some other chores at that time, keep myself busy so that I don't have to serve the lunch boxes to the kids. But somehow or the other, I was praying to Krishna very hard that please protect me from this serving thing. I just don't want to do it, but I'm doing it because this is my job. So if I think that, I'm like, I have not killed and I have not cooked, but I'm still serving it, right, in front of the kids. So I'm getting the sin. Huh? No, the kids, they don't know. So that's why the education is very important. That's why, why Prabhupada wanted this Krishna consciousness to penetrate everywhere. Why? Because of this reason. When you come into Krishna consciousness, what does it teach you? It teaches us to be a very compassionate person. Yes, kind and compassionate. And how can we be compassionate where, on the other hand, we are killing animals? Where is that compassion? We cannot show our compassion. So if people know that animals have got souls, but they are also spirit soul. They are also evolving in their journey from one species to another, and they will come to the human form. Yeah, so we by killing that animal, we are stopping their journey. They'll have to be born again over there. So this thing, this there has to be an education for this. Unless and until, all the teachers are educated, the leaders are educated, this is not going to work. Yeah. See, if they say this, that there will be overpopulation of the animals, so why are you bothered? Let this go to the Lord. The Lord should bother about it. You just do your duty, what is being told to you. You just don't kill them. So this is a totally wrong concept, and I can talk to you about it later on after the class. Yes, and explain more on this aspect. But definitely they will not. Everything is on ecological balance is there, and the Lord is maintaining the ecological balance of this whole planet. Yeah, how is then that why are they not thinking, how the how the elephant is fed in the forest? Why can't they think about that? Are they going and giving them food to the animals, to the elephants in the forest? Who is taking care of them? The Lord is taking care. So why can't they think on those aspects that if they are so thoughtful that if we kill the animal, if we don't kill the animals, the population will increase. Because you are wanting to gratify your tongue, that is why you want to kill and taste that animal. And you are giving these reasons which are not at all valid. Leave the problem to the creator, no. You have not taken in charge of what is going to happen to this or that. Have you taken charge? No. What we have told you, don't kill because they are, now you tell me, you can tell them that, okay, you're killing the animals. Can you also create an animal? Can you give life to an animal? You ask them this question. So if you can give life to one animal, then okay, fine, you can eat. We cannot give life to one single being. So what right have we got to take their lives? We must ask these questions. We cannot create. We can create these machines, these cars and everything. And that also, those are imperfect creations. It can be damaged anytime. Yeah, so if we don't have the right to create any give any life, we don't have the right to kill them also. Yeah, Mataji, please tell this next time when you go. Okay, on that note, we would like to end over here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.